Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something that I hear all the time. The idea that you don't even realize you're being abused, that it's normalized in a way that once you're too deep into it, you just think, "Oh, this is just normal and this is what I'm expected to do and there's no big deal." And also imagine you not wanting to share this with other women or other girls because you're thinking maybe it's just me and maybe he was able
Yeah.
to do this with me because I'm a certain kind of way, but
Mm-hmm.
how embarrassing is it if I'm going to share this with them and
Mm-hmm.
then they are not going through the same thing that I am?
Yeah, and also not having a safe place to share that with.
Mhm.
Yeah, share that with someone who you trust and
Right,
love. Like going to your parents and saying, this old guy's doing this stuff to me. Is this right?
right.
Or, you know, uh, talking to really good friends. Sometimes they don't want to talk to you about it. Your
Mhm.
partners don't want to talk to you about it. Or a lot of times you suppress it. That's why a lot of people become drug addicts.
Mhm.
It's usually because they've had some type of abuse a lot of times in many different ways. And then that's a good way of suppressing it. I mean, I did for 4 or 5 years until I, got married and had kids and never touched it again.
Mhm.
But, that was my way of suppressing it because then it didn't really happen. And I didn't think about it at all. I didn't think about it. The only time I thought about it was when he died.
Hmm.
When he finally died in 2019 was the moment that shifted my entire life. It was the defining moment of my life was when he died. Because now it was this huge release that I could actually let go of what happened to me. If he was still alive today, I wouldn't even be here. I would still be very quiet about it and not even probably know what to do about it. But we talk about it differently today than we did in the early 2000s. If that was going on in the early 2000s, right? I mean, there's TikTok to say, oh, this guy went and he made me do a creepy massage. We would talk about it. We would tell our friends because all the teenagers nowadays, they have the language
Right.
of what this type of
Yeah,
abuse
so
is.
much has changed.
Oh my
They
gosh,
don't
so much
realize
has
how much has
changed.
changed. Yeah.
Back then, people to remember, we didn't have phones. We weren't
Right.
taking pictures. I mean, we had phones, but we weren't taking pictures and texting
Right.
like that. We weren't communicating. This wasn't a conversation about abuse.
Yeah,
It's
and I think
only recent.
yeah, things aren't perfect yet, for sure, but I think there's been a huge evolution in terms of women empowerment and realizing
Mhm.
what abuse is. It's just when it's not talked about, you don't even realize what it is. And once it's out in the open, then you were like, okay, wait, this
Yeah.
happened to me, and this is what abuse is. And
Well, I mean, it started with the Me Too a few
right,
years
of
ago, but
course,
that
yeah.
wasn't successful.
Hmm.
I mean, people just really victim shamed and blamed those women who
Hmm.
came out. Nowadays, it's different. I mean, look at us survivors. The whole country got behind us, and a lot of men. A lot of men don't think this is right either. It's not just women,
Yeah,
right? This
right.
is a whole country that said, okay, now we're understanding abuse. And now they started to rally behind us.
Hmm. I won't.
It's a good shift.
It is a very good shift and very necessary shift. I want to go back a little bit to when you found out Jeffrey had died. But before that, can you tell me about, so you found out your last interaction with Jeffrey. So you found out your friend had this horrible experience where she was forced to have sex with a very powerful man. And then what happened? You confronted Jeff, right?
I actually did. I don't know why I'm so bold. It's just bold and stupid. Probably shouldn't have done that. You don't call out people like that. I just didn't really know at that time who he was. I mean, the magnitude of who he was, I didn't think of that back then.
So in your mind, the image of him at the time was, this is somebody who really cares for me, who's trying to advance my career, who's helping me. Yes, he has these weird queer quirks, but you were not realizing the extent of what that means to you and to the
Um,
people around you.
mm, yeah, I mean, there was something awful that happened with me, with another celebrity, with my agency. Um, so I was starting to realize it, yes. Uh, we just didn't talk about it so much, so I just wasn't connecting the dots back then.
Right.
And I was busy. I was young. I was doing my thing. I was career, I just didn't really connect the dots and think that much about Jeffrey, until towards the end, the call about that rock star in Ghislaine. And then right after my girlfriend, something horrible happened to her, speaking to other girls. I was just like, what is going on here? And so the last time he called me, I was like, I didn't want to meet with him, but I was going to confront him. And so I went up to his, house and walked in the door and, sat down in front of him and it was like, okay, what's going on? Like, I don't like what's going on. And I flat out said to him, I know what happened with my girlfriend.
Hmm.
And he didn't like the fact that I knew because she probably wasn't supposed to tell anybody.
Hmm.
And now I know something. The guy I saw on the island, now this same guy, like that was not good. And he didn't like that. And because I'd always been the type, okay, did everything right, didn't say anything. He really liked me because I was probably, perfect victim, but not in the end. And when I said that to him, he was like, I like to have things on people. Like, duh. Like, look around, all the cameras everywhere. He didn't say that, but I knew there were cameras everywhere, and he recorded everything. And so when he said that to me, I like to have things on people. I was just like, I didn't understand it, but I didn't like it, and I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? And his eyes were different, because before it was like he liked Lisa, and now the last phone call, I didn't do what he said. And then now I'm standing up to him, and then he just was like, something bad happened that day. It was he was never the same in my eyes. So
something bad happened with him.
Yeah. And I left. And that was,
he did something bad to you.
That day. And I left. And that was his way of saying to me, you better shut up and don't say anything. And I didn't. And sometimes he would call me and say, are the press calling you? Somebody calling you? Are you talking? I was like, I would never say anything, Jeffrey. And that was it.
Oh, wow.
And if press called me, never would say, I would never say anything.
Wow. So he would call you to make sure that you weren't talking?
Yeah. That's the only thing. I never saw him again after that day, but he would call me just to make sure you're quiet. You're not saying anything. Because that's when he was being, investigated.
Right. And explain to me, you've said, and you said it right now, that if the press would call you, you would never say anything. Why not?
So you're talking about back then?
Yeah.
Why not? I knew he was a powerful person. I knew he had things on people. I knew he had powerful people in his orbit, and I kind of felt like he was setting people up. And he was using us girls to do so. And we were all kind of figuring it out, but nothing like we know today. We just didn't like it. And so I wanted just to get away from him. Yeah, that was all. I just didn't want to go back there ever again. And, I just packed up my bags, literally. It was in like a month. I packed up my bags and I moved from New York City to Los Angeles.
Wow.
And I knew he never frequented Los Angeles as much.
What year was that?
2004. Wow. And I moved to LA, and I didn't go back to New York, for many years.
It is crazy how long this went on for.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'm only speaking out now because I understand those years and how much I was involved, and I didn't even know I was involved.
But even you speaking out, it came out slowly, right?
Oh my gosh.
Right. You didn't immediately come out and say, okay, I was a victim. Are you
kidding me? I'm still finding out stuff from this week at Capitol Hill. Bombshell stuff. I'm still finding out bombshell stuff that's gut-wrenching, because I have like this past, and now I'm realizing as more survivors come forward, like, are you serious? That's a missing link that I just thought was something normal for me that I had worked hard for. And now you're telling me that you went there and you did this too? It's just like, there are so many layers to Jeffrey Epstein. There are so many layers to the deceit that it's just mind-boggling.